Welcome everyone to the City of Joliet City Council meeting for Tuesday, May 17th at 6:30. The meeting will be presided over by our mayor, Robert Odekirk. We will start with an invocation from Pastor Ernest Caldwell, Mars Hill Church of God in Christ, 1559 and a half California Avenue, who will then lead us in the pledge.
Father, we ask in the name of Jesus that you look upon each and every one that is present. And God, we ask that you would bless our president and that all of the chairpersons that are here on this day. God, we pray for the citizens of Joliet. God, we ask that you would move as you know how best. God, look upon the Iranians, and God, we ask you for your divine help. And God, we ask that you would move, Lord, upon and church each and every one. Direct and guide. We ask this in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll begin with roll call. Mayor Odekirk.
Here.
Councilman Clement.
Here.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Here.
Councilman Guerrero.
Here.
Councilman Hug.
Here.
Councilman Morris.
Here.
Councilman Mudrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Here.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Here.
First tonight is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written?
Mayor,
Yes.
I could like to make a recommendation to the council to have Council Memo 251-22 and 257-22 removed from consent agenda to be voted on separately.
Is there consensus for that?
Call the roll.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written with the following change? Remove council memos 251-22, which is a award of contract for the Black Road Lift Station Modifications Project to Williams Brothers Construction in the amount of $2,090,000 from consent agenda to be voted on separately, and council memo 257-22 be removed from consent agenda to be voted on separately, which is an amended award of contract for the Parkview Water Main Improvement Project to Brandt Excavating in the amount of $2,647,441.36.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is citizens to be heard on agenda items. First is Julia Baum Coldwater regarding Council Memo 281-22.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I did want to make some comments and give some feedback regarding the proposal that's going to be considered for Third Coast Intermodal Hub 1 subdivision, otherwise known as North Point, Compass Business Park, and a number of other names that we've had over the years. My name is Julia Baum Coldwater, and I'm speaking on behalf of both my husband, Larry Coldwater, and myself. We're the owner-operators of Coldwater Seed Farm and Coldwater Farms, which are located both in unincorporated Jackson Township and also in the village of Elwood. Our land is contiguous to the larger approved project footprint that has, as we've said, formerly been called Compass Business Park. It's been called Compass Global Logistics Hub, Eastgate Logistics, North Point Development, now referred to as Third Coast Intermodal Hub. That falls within the larger footprint that was previously approved for North Point Development. Back in December, there was the development agreement and annexation approved back at that time. I did want to go on the record and ask that it reflect that the December 2021 North Point approval was for approximately 2,000 acres of farmland to be developed into a logistics park. But we need to remember also that North Point's actual planned project footprint covers close to 4,000 acres when considering the already approved but not yet annexed land that is south of Manhattan Road, and an additional land that's owned by North Point or being renegotiated by North Point that sits on the Manhattan side of the Manhattan-Joliet boundary agreement. I think it's important to acknowledge the totality of the planned project when we're considering the 532 acres tonight that's before you. Decisions on these 532 acres will have a direct impact on the larger project. 2,800 acres, if you don't, roughly 2,800 acres if you're not including the stuff that's on the Manhattan side, roughly 3,800, even, maybe even more for the land that's included on the Manhattan side of the boundary agreement. We have to remember that the planned main road that's going to be servicing this total project, what's often called the closed loop, that planned road that will be going through the 535 acres that's before you tonight will eventually be accommodating traffic generated by not only the 4 warehouses that are shown on the plat that you'll be looking at, but all the warehouses in the whole planned massive project. Yet, there's traffic studies, we have not seen traffic studies that truly address how all of that will be accommodated. So that's a concern I wanted to express. Dealing specifically with the proposals that you'll be looking at tonight, I do want to go on the record that I oppose the vacating of Bridge Road because of the negative impact that closure will have on the residents in the immediate surrounding area and the subdivisions and residential communities. Is that 4 minutes already?
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Laura Spurstad, regarding Council Memo 273-22.
Hello, I'm Laura Spurstad. I live in Joliet Township. I spoke at the planning and zoning meeting on April 21st, and I have my notes from that I'd like to turn in to you. I also have an email from a resident in our subdivision that came in tonight I'd like to share with you. Well, first of all, my condolences. You guys didn't make the U.S. News 150 best places to live in the United States. I want to congratulate Rockford, Moline, Rock Island, Chicago, and Peoria. Those results were published today. I have my opinions for Joliet losing, which are warehouses, truck stops, pollution, and the traffic, but you've all heard about those issues from many of my Southeast neighbors before, and I think it's a shame that you don't try to do better by your constituents. I'm here to ask you not to table Ordinance 273-22, but to vote no tonight on having a cannabis growing facility next door to our Sugar Creek Hills subdivision. I watched your pre-council last night and I was shocked. Why do municipal governments enact ordinances? Well, protect people and property. That's the short answer, and I've always believed that. But then I must be wrong, because as Ms. Coleman said last night, we'll have to get the hazmats out there. Just when can we expect hazmat to get out there? Will the city ultimately be held responsible for not enforcing environmental safeguards? We continue to wait while the Joliet city manager, city agencies, and city attorneys find some teeth. I heard that at the last planning meeting. Why isn't the Alessio Corporation being fined? As of last year, when they tore down the buffer along Sugar Creek and they began parking their construction trucks on the R2 zoning, I can only think that's because they've got more important friends than me and my neighbors. You're giving them more time to make it right, heard that. And we heard the same thing from them back on April 21st. Tell them tonight, they've run out of time. They need to restore that beautiful creek that's been a dumping ground to them. This creek flows into Noel Park and then into the Des Plaines River. The Joliet Park District should be concerned as well as the city of Joliet. The Illinois EPA, the Illinois Natural Department of Resources, and the Army Corps of Engineers all should be just as concerned as to why this city is not enforcing their own ordinances as we are here in Joliet Township. And I just think by beginning to do right in this case, you'll see that being the city of champions means more than winning at just sports. I, too, am very against this North Point project. I've been from the start. You've heard from me before about it, so I'll just add the last 2 cents. I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Michelle Peterson regarding Council Memo 281-22.
Good evening. I'm here today to speak as a concerned taxpayer that will be negatively impacted by this proposal. I urge you to vote no to Third Coast by North Point. It's the wrong area for industrial development. It's smack dab in the middle of 2 residential areas, miles away from the nearest congested, torn up, unsafe interstates. There's no bridge or approval for a bridge. You have said it before, no bridge, no project. Stick to your word or go down in history eating those words and ruining the community and surrounding areas. Besides, the taxpayers don't want to pay for 1 bridge, 2 bridge, 3 bridges or more. It's insane. Even though it's stated a bridge isn't considered a road here in Joliet. The taxpayers will be on the hook for years to come for this project with little to show except for destroying the area and making it unsafe for the people around it. It will not be a moneymaker for Joliet. It will be a leech sucking us dry for their profit. I hope you can see that. Maintenance on the roads and bridges will, rebuild and repair will kill the city and the taxpayers. Just look at what it costs to rebuild and redo that short jaunt of I-80. How many miles are you voting to add? How much more will it cost the taxpayers now and down the road? What about all the unfunded retirement debt? Joliet owes more than Chicago, as stated at a council meeting, millions in debt. More jobs for police, fire, and public works will be needed, all while adding to that impending debt. I think the workers deserve the retirement, don't get me wrong. I think votes on projects by elected officials need to be fiscally responsible for today and down the line because it matters. Farmland's not blighted, it's necessary. A huge resource we can't turn our backs on because we can't get it back once it's turned into a concrete jungle. Grain is a very valuable commodity. I think we've seen that lately. We need to protect our resources. Water's another precious commodity that requires protection by elected officials. Third Coast will consume a whale of water and those around it will have none. You must protect the watersheds. Now Cedar Creek is involved. It needs to be protected. 1 accident is going to pollute that creek with diesel, oil, and other contaminants. Look how close that road is to that on that map. It's scary how close it is. Protect the safety of your citizens and nearby residents and those traveling the roads. It's dangerous now, and a vote yes will make it more dangerous. Protect the land. It's non-returnable to precious status once it's stripped. Protect historical Route 66. Protect Medewin. Protect Abraham Lincoln National Cemetery. It's all in your hands with your vote tonight. I urge you to vote no because your constituents do not want the financial burden of this leech. Your resources are precious. Maintenance is a never-ending and continuing cost to the constituents in the city. And it's really not right to saturate more in the area with cancer-causing pollution. What about the future? Do you have ideals and visions that you ran your campaign on? The promises you made for your city and district? Voters will remember empty promises, I guarantee it. I found many articles and interviews where one thing was said and another was done without a bat of your eyes. It's sad and disappointing that you can't stick to your words and promises. Do what's right for your city and taxpayers and vote no. Thank you.
Thank you.
Janet Buell regarding 273-22.
Hi, I am Janet Buell, and I reside at 401 Judge Court in the Sugar Creek subdivision. Been there for 54 years. It's a beautiful subdivision with its creek and pond, rolling hills, spacious yards, animals and birds, and beautiful wooded areas. And my home is right next door to the Alessio property. That's 273-22. Our home was bordered on two sides by woods until Alessio removed the trees and bushes on the west side, and that was our buffer. He knocked all the trees down with large, heavy equipment, bulldozers. He didn't cut them down, he just knocked them down and split them all up and buried them, I guess. Prior to that, I had noticed activity over there and had called the city numerous times to find out what was going on. And they knew nothing. They could tell me nothing. And I kept calling and nothing. No permits were issued, so therefore they had no evidence of anything. I finally filed a complaint on June 3rd of last year. And then came the fence surrounding the property. So now it was all fenced in. And then on weekends came the dumping of truckloads of stuff, concrete, asphalt, broken up road material, etc. And then they covered up with dirt and gravel. I do believe that the whole area was raised up 2 to 3 feet from its normal position because they were previously down a hill from my property, and now they were not as far down the hill as they had been before. All of this activity was done without permits. So now they're storing in industrial equipment and all sorts of supplies on this land. I invite you to drive down Judge Court and get out of your vehicle and look around. I'm the last house on the right. I beg of you to vote no for the cannabis cultivation will not enhance Sugar Creek for sure, our neighborhood, nor the smell, nor the 30-foot warehouse, and the property values will definitely get reduced, for sure. Also, traffic congestion on Manhattan Road and creek contamination. By the way, have you reached out to the IEPA and the Illinois Department of Natural Resources and the Army Corps of Engineers for this project? If not, why not? You've known about these issues for over a year. Again, I ask that you vote this down and hold Alessio accountable for all his misdeeds. Thank you.
Thank you.
Saul Brass regarding Council Memo 273-22.
Hi, my name is Saul Brass. I'm a resident of 101 Wildwood Lane in the Sugar Creek subdivision. I'm here tonight to voice my concerns about the cannabis warehouse on Manhattan Road. that property that they are planning for the cannabis grow house, it's right next to a church, which is the East Side Christian Church, and I think that's one of the things that you do not want next to a cannabis house, that is a church. I'm concerned about the traffic. Our school was on Layaway Road, but because of the traffic, we had to move. Our building now is on Rowell Avenue. And traffic is still increasing, even though there are city rules that they are not supposed to go any farther. They're not supposed to drive in front of the school, but that is totally ignored unless it's police. And I know right now it is difficult to have a patrolman there constantly. I'm concerned about my neighborhood. Again, it's most people sometimes don't even realize we're there because we are in between warehouses and Manhattan Road. And right now, on one side, we cannot get in, we cannot get out to Chicago Street because it is so much traffic there. And then on Manhattan Road, it's becoming more and more congested. And I know that this warehouse is going to create even more traffic. I'm concerned about the smell. I'm concerned about our property value. I'm concerned about the children who will be catching the bus. I am a vice president of the Laraway School Board, and I'm just concerned about the negative effect on our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brandon Mosier regarding Council Memo 275-22.
Hi, actually, I had brought some photos, which I think is going to be shared up on the screen in a moment. So I took a couple screenshots. One of these is actually the other proposed gas and wash that's going to be on, I think, Hollywood and Route 6. As you can see here, this one is clearly nowhere near residential. So by all means, go ahead and approve this one. If we can go to the next one, I don't think I can actually control it. Oh, I can, okay. For this one, you can actually see where this proposed gas and wash is actually going to be literally right next to numerous houses. The blue circle right there actually shows my house, saying here's where it's actually going to be. This is how close we're going to be impacted. This is my current view of my backyard. That's going to completely change. My wife and I, my kids, family, friends, we all like to sit back there, relax, chill, have a good time, is now going to be greatly impacted by constant traffic. Cars, trucks, vacuum cleaners. I mean, it's going to be 24/7. Yes, vacuum's going to stop hopefully at 10 o'clock, but I don't want to hear it all the way up till 10 o'clock. By that time, it's almost time for bed. I went over to Theodore and Droughton, and I saw this is about how close their gas station is to the neighbors over there. Mind you, I did speak with them too, and they said they're actually technically not happy. Yes, they brought in someone yesterday that said they're fine with the gas station being there. It's fantastic. Not everyone feels the same way. All those houses around that vicinity that I showed you earlier, they're against this too. So I don't know how one person can help sway you to say that this is going to be fine when there's numerous others that are against it. This is possibly how far a gas station should be from residential, and that's on the west side of the gas and wash there. Standing here is about a little over 200 feet from the vacuums that I can actually hear, even with traffic behind me. That's 200 feet. This is 200 feet from where the actual diesel location is going to be put. From what I recall yesterday hearing from my wife about California study saying, there really shouldn't be anything within 300 feet. Even on their drawings, they even put something up there that says that little red circle indicates from one property value up to the diesel is only 118 feet. That's well within the 300 recommended distance. So as I did speak with a couple of you members last night and today, Councilwoman Quillen, we spoke about this saying, hey, I'm a problem solver. I'm trying to help, make something happen. Yes, I'm fine with the gas and wash, but not by residential. I spoke with Hug earlier today too, and he said, sadly, the one that I brought up here is Droughton and Drought and Caton Farm, not zoned for commercial property. Fine, makes sense. This is, again, would have been a good location, but it's not allowed. I did go down to Theodore and Caton Farm, Theodore and Ridge. I do see properties up for value there. They can be sold, they can probably be turned into commercial use. Again, not near a whole lot of residential, and actually it's nice because it's right by a fire department, so if anything does happen, they're right there. So, one of the things too that I spoke with Hug about earlier too is the property value. Some of the recent studies have shown that property value will drop from 16 to 20% on housing. That's potentially $40,000 that I might lose on my property value. To me, that's the cost of a new electric car. You were talking about the cost of, what would you rather have, a new car or a house? Well, we already have a house, but I would like to, get away from combustion engines. I want to go electric. I don't know if I can now. And the other thing I did share with you guys earlier today too is I did get an email from Councilwoman Reardon saying she's against this proposal. I really hope you guys can listen to her and understand that this is something that her and her constituents don't want in her district.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Would you mind if I made a comment?
Sure.
Mr. Moser? He did say something to me earlier that he would like me to make sure that I express to all of my constituents. I was at the Planning and Zoning Board. We did have quite a few residents that came in opposition to the proposal. It is my district, and I do want to support my residents, and I will be opposing this.
Thank you.
Megan Cooper regarding Council Memo 273-22.
Megan Cooper, Joliet. In the 2019 minutes of a zoning board meeting on another project on Alessio Drive, Mark Henley, in an attached letter of opposition, posed a question, and he asked, had the Army Corps of Engineers, had they been made aware of the field within the watershed protection area of Sugar Creek on Alessio Drive? This was back in 2019. Here we are in 2022, and we have plowing down of trees, excavating of land, grading of land, and the field of land, all without a permit. We have abandoned oil barrels. We have abandoned power fluid barrels. We have coolant barrels that's abandoned. We have possible contamination of the ground and of Sugar Creek. We have improper use of zoned land, improper materials, and also improper storage of construction equipment on R2 zone property, as well as truck renting, parking on R2 zone property as well. We have the issue of this actually being a wetland back there and work being done there. And not only that, but actually 2 of their buildings is actually sitting within the wetland. We have the watershed protection issue. We have a floodway. We also have the fact that Alessio Drive does not technically exist. It's actually a railroad right-of-way, and they are landlocked. Despite a stopped work order, we still have continued dumping, as I showed up yesterday. And as of today, we also have more construction equipment that was brought in approximately about 10:30 this morning and parked on R2 zone property, despite a stop work order and them telling them to bring this area into compliance. We have a denial at the zoning board and also plan commission. With everything that I've been coming down here with over the last few weeks and all the information that the other residents have actually provided as well, how did this actually get this far? At this point, this is far beyond a marijuana cultivation facility. This is about the land itself. So in saying that, we ask of you to not table this tonight, but to actually vote, and vote with a denial on both the special use permit and also rezoning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kathy Garthis regarding Council Memo 280-22. Is that okay?
No, ma'am, if you could, you address the city council, make your comments, please.
Yeah, you don't want to comment that you don't care about negative comments that people make. When I'm commenting on this vacation of the Schweitzer Road, or for Center Point here, I don't think you should be allowing Center Point to keep getting away, taking roads away from people like you guys did years back and letting them close Patterson Road off to us and forcing us to use Laraway Road to get down to Brandon Road. You took a main course away from us, going down there from Patterson Road all the way to Brandon Road instead of forcing us on the road with all the semi-trucks. As you know, Bob, your friend Robert Hernandez was out there one day, a few weeks ago, trying to find this Zenith Electric, whatever it was. Supposedly, human remains found on that property, and your buddy Robert Hernandez was going up and down Laraway Road. You seen all the truck traffic on his Facebook Live feed. But that's what you forced us to do when you guys let Center Point close, vacate Patterson Road and recall it Center Point Way. But they put that gate across down there just past the old Owen property. You forced us all to go on Laraway Road then. And now you're gonna vacate Schweitzer Road. That's our main road out to get out to Laraway Road. How am I gonna get in and out? I'm not gonna use that new Hobo Bridge. I don't want that, because I got friends that live over there on Brandon Road. How am I supposed to get to them? I'm supposed to go to Hobo Bridge, go all the way around Route 6, come all the way up there, Brandon Road, just to get to my friends over there on Brandon Road, just off of Laraway Road. It's still there, the Whittlers and that. I am not gonna do full big circles trying to get over there. You guys gotta start getting tough with Center Point and doing this stuff. Stop letting them get away with this stuff because they have not come through. Like I said, we were supposed to have our own access road on Better Road. And when they widened Better Road to 4 lanes, we were supposed to have our own access road out there. There's still people living out here. We have 3 residents in a row, Mark Marcio, McCaskey's and we are still out here living, and we don't want to move. So you gotta get tough and stop letting Center Point rule you, regardless of what agreements were signed years back, because that little agreements signed years back were on account of everybody was gonna sell out and move out. Well, everybody is not sold out. And I know on live Facebook feed, if I couldn't play it for you, I'm gonna say what you said. You, Bob, said that you do not pay attention to negative comments. You say you don't know why people make these negative comments when we don't live in Joliet. You say you don't know why we're so obsessed with Joliet and making these negative comments. You know why? It's because you are letting all this stuff come to our territory. What used to be Elwood is now Joliet. And now you're bringing North Point in. You let Center Point come, what used to be Elwood. Now that's Joliet. You wonder why all the negative comments, and you don't care. You have shown, regardless, you guys don't care. You know it negatively impacts our lives, but you still are gonna let it keep on negative impacting our lives. I don't know how you expect us all to live. The noise from the trucks, the diesel exhaust, I pass out. Go down Laraway Road at night, seeing them trains spewing all that diesel fumes in the air. Go to the gas stations. I have my windows open now in the summertime. I got the smell of diesel fuel coming in my windows. I'm trying to sleep and I'm breathing this diesel fuels. You don't know. If you think it's so great, like I've said to other people, if you think it's so great, then all you city councilmen start tearing up these subdivisions here in Joliet and start putting the warehouses there. And you could live next to them.
Thank you.
That's all that signed up to speak. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on an agenda item this evening?
Hi, my name's Stephanie Irvine. I'm going to be speaking on 281-22. I live in Jackson Township. I'm speaking for myself and my husband, who's a co-owner of property on Green Road. I'm also a member of Open Lands in the Sierra Club. Our general welfare, health, livelihood with our family business, property value, quality of life, our personal safety as we travel are all at stake and will be irreparably harmed if the Third Coast North Point project is approved. The character of the area will be permanently and negatively altered, which also affects our property rights. This proposal and subsequent plat amendment are inconsistent with Joliet master planning and moving Will County that Joliet participated in. I-1 zoning is not appropriate for this plat amendment, as there is no way this will be a clean and quiet light industrial use. Furthermore, this petition is not viable in this location because the special use permit that is required cannot be granted in accordance with Joliet's own zoning code, which prohibits special uses in I-1 zoning. There appears to be severe negative impacts to local creeks, including stormwater, degradation of waterways as a result of this plat amendment. Future building number 3 appears to be thrown on top of a sensitive area, which could create destructive flooding. Nowhere does North Point address anti-degradation or provide an analysis thereof to demonstrate to what degree this will pollute the creek and watershed. This is a serious issue due to the volume of stormwater and trucks anticipated, and there is no proposed remedy aside from arguably undersized detention basins. Additionally, there is no evidence that traffic from this project will not worsen air quality in violation of the national ambient air quality standards. With all of that said, those impacts are merely indicative of a much larger issue that simply cannot be fully addressed because the project has been piecemealed together. Everyone knows the future intentions with this project, yet it's been repeatedly ignored, and in some instances, like when North Point brought forth the 103 acres, prohibited from even being addressed. This developer's aggressive plans have precluded you from taking the proper steps to fully evaluate this development and its impacts at every turn. You say you've done your research, yet you're surprised when you find out you own the bridge. The agreement holds so much ambiguity, and yet you ask no meaningful questions. You've been adamant that you won't allow access onto 53, yet North Point's own maps show truck access on 53. It's apparently of no consequence that you'll be violating your own zoning code. You recently turned down a project at this very location because it wasn't conducive to the area, but now it's fine? Last time I checked, this isn't whose line is it anyway, where everything is made up and the rules don't matter. But then again, maybe it is. You double down anytime information is provided that is contrary to what North Point told you, even when it's the truth. Common sense would tell anyone to vote no, but that's evaded most of you, but not all, thus far. I pray that you find some. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Delilah Legret, and I am a Jackson Township resident and member of Open Lands and Sierra Club. I come before you for 281-22. I'm here to oppose the final plat agreements before you. The petitioner has not presented clear and convincing evidence as required by Joliet special use regulations. There have been no studies made available on the impact this development will have on the public's health, safety, morals, comfort, or general welfare. This directly contradicts zoning ordinance number 5825. Access points on the information furnished in the packet show traffic exclusively using Illinois 53, with a possibility for using a bridge over the rail crossing to the west of the project. A traffic plan of this sort has been denied multiple times by this board and should be now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else?
My name is Monty Moore, and I live in Sugar Creek subdivision, unincorporated Joliet. I'm here to talk about 27322. But first, I'd like to just go through some history of some of the annexation that's gone on around our area that surrounds Sugar Creek. I've been a resident there, homeowner for 31 years, and over those 31 years, there's been a lot of changes that have negatively impacted our area. Years ago, you guys approved the racetrack. During the time that the racetrack was actually up and running, the traffic, we couldn't get on 53, couldn't get out of 53, couldn't get home many times, had to be rerouted. not to mention the fumes from the carbon monoxide, the noise from the racetrack, the helicopter traffic, the air shows, the announcers over the loudspeakers, the music. We put up with all of that. It wasn't good for the residents of Sugar Creek. It didn't improve our quality of life. You guys approved a dump across from Noah Park that used to be a quarry. Apparently, clean construction material. Who knows what goes in there? I don't know who monitors that to make sure clean construction is right across from Noah Park. And it was also a place where I always thought it was a table for our water table for our wells in Sugar Creek. I know that since you put that there, I had to re-drill my well. I had to go 80 feet deeper. I had to pay for that. The intermodal facility, the largest inland port in North America. The truck traffic. I was down here to oppose that years ago. You guys approved that. We were promised as residents that there would be no traffic off of Interstate 80 onto 53. It would all come off Arsenal Road. Any of you that have traveled in that corridor, there's more truck traffic there than there is car traffic. And what we experience is torn up roads, Route 53, Route 52. They're state owned. You guys aren't responsible for them. The state doesn't repair them. So what happens? We get repair bills, tires, brakes, windshields, etc. Long waits, pay for more gas, longer trip times. It goes on and on. Our school, Laraway, had to be moved because of truck traffic, because of a quarry, which incidentally puts particulate in the air all the time, silica. Silica's not good for you, but it's there to add to the pollutants from the intermodal, from the racetrack, from whatever else you guys decide is good for the tax base in Joliet. Unfortunately, all those things surround us, and all of it impacts us in a negative way. This cultivation center, I hope you vote no for it, because there's no way it's going to be positive for the community and the residents of Sugar Creek. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Mary Ninos. I live at 2013 Arden Place on the west side of Joliet, but I spend most of my time not at my house, but in Sugar Creek. So after the meeting last night, I thought this morning, I'm gonna get on the golf cart and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna talk to neighbors that I don't really know and that I don't really speak to see what their interest is and if they were for or against, and just how they felt about this cultivation center, the marijuana cultivation center. All were against it, but for very different reasons. Some didn't know that the Alessios had broken law after law with no consequences. Some saw yesterday's meeting and were appalled at the responses from the council or city. And some just don't want it in our neighborhood. They're not particularly against a cultivation center, it's just in the wrong location. But the response that really made the most impact on me, and hopefully will make the most impact on you all, is a gentleman that I've never spoken to before, who is relatively new in the neighborhood, built a brand new, beautiful home, beautiful landscaping. And I said, will you come to the city council meeting tonight and speak? And he said, right off, no. And I said, but why? Are you for this project? He said, absolutely not. He lives 2 houses in from Manhattan Road. He's right there. And I said, why not? And he goes, well, what good would it do? And I go, well, you have to speak so they can hear your voice. And he said, they're not listening. They are going to do what they want to do no matter what we say. And that's really almost a direct quote from him. He gave up the fight, and others have given up the fight, but we don't want to give up the fight. This is not the place for this cultivation center, and with everything that's been done on the existing property that I've heard from another neighbor for like 20 years ago, this has been going on. This is not lately, that we don't want to give up. We want to fight for full remediation of all the property that they damaged
all the trees they took down, all the wildlife that was displaced. They owe us that. And we will fight until this is voted down. Please listen to our voices. I'm against this project, and I hope you will be too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. James Young. I'm the opposite of that last neighbor that she spoke with in Sugar Creek, and we are here to fight. And if the city is asking for oversight, we're gonna ask, we'll give it to you. We're gonna give it to you. It was deplorable that Councilman Quillman said we should go and take a look at the site. Councilman Clemens said, no, it's private property. Mr. Capillari said, there's nothing we can do, let the law handle it. Well, several years ago, I had a storage unit located on my property for at least 10 years. I was forced to move it, or I would have been fined $1,000 a day until it was moved. And I employed Kavanaugh and Associates, and they gave me some time. I asked for a special use permit, I couldn't get it. They're asking for a special use permit. They're asking you all to table something that your constituents are saying we don't want. And all I'm saying is no to this cannabis center. We don't even have a grocery store. We got a liquor store on one side of Richards, rehabilitation on another side, and if we go straight ahead, we're setting up, what, another industrial complex? Let them go and buy the marijuana. Sure, they can go to rehab or go alcohol. What do we want? We're the resident. We're invested. I'm invested. I bought my house. I worked hard for it. No, I don't live on the west side. I live on the east side. And it's a good thing you did bring the economic development person from Peoria. Maybe he will look and say, hey, he can help us out. But this cannabis center isn't gonna help me out. And I'm just saying, vote no. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Seeing none, we'll move on to council committee reports. First is the finance committee report.
Thank you. The Finance Committee met here at 5:30. On the committee is Councilwoman Sherry Reardon and Councilman Cesar Guerrero. The meeting started with the presentation from the grant coordinator, Tammy Edmondson, who gave us a report on the number of grants that she's been involved in about 9 months that she's been here. The first grants that we've received were for $745,000. The next grouping, we're waiting for responses. That amount is $349 million. And then there's two other grants that come to $1.1 million, and she'll be reporting monthly on where we're at in receiving these grants. We then heard from the finance, monthly finance reports. As mentioned last month, we are up approximately $13 million from a year ago. This is for after the first quarter. Sales and then the replacement tax are the biggest numbers, and expenses are level as budgeted. There is a report on personnel. We have 45 openings, 22 of them are in-house. There's 18 more that are interns that have not been completely filled, but they are interviewing candidates for those positions at this time. Sherry, Caesar, that's my report.
Thank you.
Land Use and Legislative Committee report.
Yes, the Land Use Legislative Committee, we met Thursday here in the council chamber. Myself, Councilwoman Quillman, and Councilman Clement, the committee members, we met here at 4 o'clock. Our first agenda item was the Joliet Tree Preservation Ordinance. And there was some amendments made to that by our legal department. They worked closely with the Public Works Department as well as our arborists and the Tree Board Committee. And the Tree Board Committee has been around for several years, doing a wonderful job. Trees are very important, you know, to a city. And the ordinance had some basic amendments. These was dealing with trees in the parkway, in public spaces, not on people's private property. If a developer comes in and needs to remove a tree, he has to provide the city with new trees. Depending on the size of the tree that they remove would determine how many trees that we would replant in order to keep our tree population enhanced. I guess that was much it. I asked at the end if anybody want to touch on anything else on the Joliet tree preservation. We also had one item tabled. It was the ordinance amending real estate transfer tax. The Illinois Realtors Association asked us to give them some time to speak with our staff concerning some input that they would like to have concerning our real estate transfer tax. So they should be coming back at our next Land Use Legislative Committee meeting. Our next agenda item, and I guess last agenda item, was fueling of unauthorized vehicles. These are your four-wheelers or your ATV, your mini bikes and things of that nature. And we've been getting a huge calls to the police department with these vehicles running on the public streets. So this is something to help where they can't just ride up to a gas station and fill them up. They would have to be brought in on a trailer. City staff is going to provide some type of stickers or signage at each gas station here in the city, a warning of the penalty of filling up these vehicles without them being on a trailer or such. That was pretty much it. We had a short agenda for a change, but I guess we got a long meeting coming up, so I shouldn't speak too soon. Anything else, Jan, or?
No, we just wanted to clarify the fact, as I know some folks were upset about how am I going to get my gas for my lawnmower or my, saws and things like that, and that is not going to affect that particular type of buying the gas. As we said, we still have to work on the ordinance, but it's something that has to be done. It's a safety issue, and it was brought to us. This particular item was brought to us by our city chief, Mr. Evans, who's here tonight. So that was it. But we wanted to make sure people knew that, because I know they're upset about it, but that's not going to happen.
Right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yep.
Public Service Committee report.
Public Service Committee met here yesterday in the council chambers at 4:30 in the afternoon. On the committee and attending was Councilman Gavin, Councilman Morris, and myself. We had 8 contracts we reviewed. They all passed muster. However, I would like to point out 2 briefly that are good news to many of the Joliet residents. He did review one for the, let me see here. Give me 1 second. We're doing the first phase of what will be a 3-phase, $750,000 sidewalk improvement. So it's important, we've essentially tripled the amount we're spending on sidewalk repairs, and it's been long overdue to be done, as we've also quintupled the amount we're going to be resurfacing the streets on. So that was on the agenda, and we did, of course, review the contract and move it forward. And then the good news is the citywide newsletter will be quarterly again. We took a break from having the citywide newsletter and let the contract lapse during the COVID situation in 2020. So we did look at that contract, and it will be a quarterly newsletter moving forward. We had 3 items that were change order pay estimates and final payments. Again, we reviewed them and found them to be in order. And we had a brief update about the alternative water source program, which essentially said we're on schedule, exactly where we need to be. If you wanted to see that, I believe Allison Swisher has it posted under the Rethink Water section of the city website. That's pretty much the whole meeting. Did I miss anything, Terry or Betty?
No, sir.
No.
Well, then, Mayor, that will be my report. Thank you.
I show no other reports. Under consent agenda, approval of the minutes. It's recommended the minutes of the pre-council meeting held on May 2nd, 2022, and the minutes of the council meeting held on May 3rd, 2022 stand approved as recorded. Council Memo 251-22 was previously removed from consent agenda to be voted on separately. Council Memo 252-22, award of contract for the roofing envelope rehabilitation at Joliet Slammers Stadium located at 1 Mayor Art Schultz Drive to Adler Roofing in the amount of $152,850. Council Memo 253-22, award of contract for the roofing envelope replacement at Bicentennial Park located at 201 West Jefferson Street to seal tight exteriors in the amount of $122,750. Council Memo 254-22, award of contract for the 2022 pavement marking contract to Superior Road Striping in the amount of $224,307. Council Memo 255-22, award of contract for the water treatment plant residuals disposal project to Envirite of Illinois in the amount of $446,684.51. Council Memo 256-22, award of contract for the Curtis Avenue, Rayner Avenue to Wilcox Street roadway improvement project to PT Farrow Construction Company in the amount of $450,191.69. Council Memo 257-22 was previously removed from consent agenda to be voted on separately. Council Memo 258-22, professional services agreement for the public utilities SCADA system maintenance service contract to Wunderlich Malik in the amount of $40,000. Council Memo 259-22, professional services agreement for the commercial water service GIS mapping project, contract 2 to Rudiger, Tonelli and Associates in the amount of $48,050. Council Memo 260-22, purchase of rescue boat. Council Memo 261-22, purchase of the required materials to upfit 2 Ford Transit vans into prisoner transport vehicles. Council Memo 262-22, award of contract for the chain link perimeter fencing and privacy slats for JPD West Side Substation to Alliance Fence in the amount of $69,540. Council Memo 263-22, standardization of fire turnout gear. Council Memo 264-22, amendment number 2 to the professional services agreement for the alternative water source program to Stantec Consulting Services in the amount of $0 to modify scope of services. Council Memo 265-22, change order number 6 for the 2020 sanitary sewer rehabilitation program to performance pipelining for a contract extension. It's recommended Council Memos 252-22 through 256-22 and 258-22 through 265-22 be approved. Is there a motion to approve all said consent agenda items?
So moved.
Second.
And motion and seconded to approve, Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Council Memo 251-22, award of contract for the Black Road Lift Station Modifications Project to Williams Brothers Construction in the amount of $2,090,000. It's recommended Council Memo 251-22 be approved.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin. Motion carried. Council Memo 257-22, amended award of contract for the Parkview Water Main Improvements Project to Grant Excavating in the amount of $2,647,441.36. It's recommended Council Memo 257-22 be approved.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin. Aye. Councilman Guerrero.
Just in case anybody was wondering why I requested to have these two items voted on separately. Both of these contracts are in excess of $2 million. It's a very significant amount. So I just felt that they deserve to be voted on separately, just so the citizens know we are paying attention. We don't take these kind of decisions and something to this scale very lightly. But I would still vote to approve. So, aye.
Motion carried. Moving on, under public hearings, Council Memo 268-22, a resolution approving an annexation agreement for a 97.1 acre parcel located at the southeast corner of Cherry Hill Road and Spencer Road. This is a public hearing, so comments would be in order at this time.
It's a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the council on this matter?
Good evening. My name is Ken Ninehouse with Northern Builders. We are here tonight seeking approval for this project for the annexation of the 97 acres. I think you had the packet. I actually thought we were at 279 in here. Or did I have those confused? Is that, or do you break this into two parts?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. My name is Ken Ninehouse. Do I need to be sworn in or anything? To talk
Sabrina,
on
we swear
behalf.
people in tonight for public hearings.
I'm assuming,
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the whole truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present tonight. I'm sure you've reviewed the staff report. Our petition is to annex the 97 acres known as the Gary Fritz property. We've worked diligently with staff and engineering on this project over the last several months. I believe we have met all expectations for that. Our project is for the annexation, rezoning to I zoning. It also includes our site plan that is for approval, that is in the package, along with the road improvements all the way from Gauger to Spencer Road, providing a new 3-lane road in the limits of Joliet on Spencer Road, starting at Cherry Hill to the eastern boundaries of Joliet, continuation on into New Lenox, improving that road structure, and fully improving 3 lanes of Cherry Hill, which abuts our property. As you've seen in our packets that have been presented, we have already prepared the dedication plats for that to show our willingness to proceed with the roads upon approval. Does anyone have any questions for our project?
Questions?
Yeah, I have a question, but stop me if this is not right, Sabrina.
Sure.
Greg, they did the project that we've been having some issues with further west, right, or east, north?
North, that's
So-
correct.
Right,
Yeah.
so my concern is, so we're not going down that road again that we're going down now, is the other side of the street. Because you all did a wonderful job with the previous development, you know, with the curb and gutters.
We think so.
The neighbors across the street who, and Greg and Jim and I, we've discussed this, who's trying to come to some resolution with their side of the street. And I guess the most recent concern is that their side of the street was fine, but I guess we tore the whole street up. Where they saying we could have just left their side the way it was. So I just hope.
Yeah, so, Councilman Morris, the agreement when that piece of the north was developed was that the developer was required to build a half road, which they did. We have had problems in the past where we have only allowed or required a half road construction. As part of this development, we required the developer to build both sides of the road, so they will be building both sides of Spencer and a portion of Cherry Hill there to the south as well. We can't go back on the previous agreement. We're working towards getting resolution on that, but going forward, they'll build both sides of the road.
Right, that's all. I had read through it, but I might have missed it. I just wanted to make sure.
This is full 3 lanes.
Right.
full
Right,
three
and I
lanes
heard you
on
say that,
Cherry
but-
Hill that,
Yeah.
you know, for the length of our project, it is full, complete 3 lanes, way beyond our project to the east. It's what really brings in, access to the area. There are no roads, Spencer Road right now cannot support, you know, anything other than just, you know, light vehicles. So we are not only improving all of Joliet with 3 lanes, we're also improving the, New Lenox Township. That last 1,000, approximately 1,000 feet, the east boundary to Gauger Road.
Right. It was just the previous development, which, like, again, you all did what you all agreed to do. It was just the third lane.
We honored our
Yes, you
I think
did.
that agreement was
Right.
back from 2005 and actually went beyond, put an additional half lane in. We actually met with the property owners during that with the councilman. I don't remember the gentleman's name, but we had some very fruitful meetings. You know, we agreed to do many other amenities at that time, such as expanding the berms. We landscaped some of their homes for them, and you know what, and they're very happy with us.
Yeah.
As near as I know, they're very happy with us.
Yeah, they happy with you all, but they not too happy with, well, anyway.
We did all of our
They're gonna be happy
obligations
with
and
everybody.
beyond.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have a proven track history of doing exactly what we say. And, you know, we are prepared to turn right around, and, I mean, preliminary engineering is already in great shape. We're ready to move right to final engineering and start the roads this season if we can get this early enough.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak during the public hearing? Seeing none, let the record show that the hearing is now closed. It's recommended a resolution approving an annexation agreement for a 97.1 acre parcel located at the southeast corner of Cherry Hill Road and Spencer Road be approved. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Motion carried. Moving on, under ordinances, Council Memo 270-22, an ordinance approving a special use permit to allow an electronic message center that is larger than 50 square feet located at 1801 West Jefferson Street. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 271-22, an ordinance approving an amendment to a special use permit, ordinance 18315, to allow truck and trailer parking on the adjacent lot of a trucking facility located on Lot 7 along Stone City Drive. It's recommended that ordinance be adopted.
Mayor, question.
Yes.
Clarification from staff, I just want to be certain. This is for Amber Solutions use only, their own trucks. This is not to be rented out to other individuals, am I correct?
That is my understanding, yeah, that it's not for just over-the-road drivers, that this is for their facility and their truck drivers.
All right, well, when we say it's our understanding, do we have enough wording in there from a legal perspective to make sure that they aren't going to be doing that? That it's only for their use?
They have not told us otherwise, so, you know.
Right, I think Sabrina's going to.
Based on the mandatory conditions that are in here, it doesn't specifically state that.
Okay. I would make a motion to table so that we can clarify that, so it's for use only, and it can't be turned into, we went through that with one other company before, you know, trying to, you know, having them turn it into a pay-by-space lot. So,
I would agree, I'll second.
Did you want it tabled to a specific, to the next meeting, which would be June
until,
7th?
yeah, can you get it done in the next, between now and the next meeting? And clean up the wording?
Yep.
Thanks, Sabrina. Yes, next meeting.
It's been motioned and seconded to table Council Memo 271-22, which is an ordinance approving an amendment to a special use permit to allow truck and trailer parking on the adjacent lot of a trucking facility located on Lot 7 along Stone City Drive to the June 7th council meeting. Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 271-22 was tabled to the June 7th council meeting. Council Memo 272-22, an ordinance approving the vacation of a 15-foot wide public utility and drainage easement located at 2000 Essington Road. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is Council Memo 273-22, ordinances associated with the southeast corner of Alessio Drive at Manhattan Road. The petitioner is recommending this item be tabled to the June 7th council meeting.
Mayor,
Go ahead.
I would like to see this denied. I don't want to table it anymore. It's been nothing but issues for ongoing over a year and up until today, and they're still doing things, ignoring our ordinances, ignoring everything that we're doing. And I just don't want to table it. I don't want to deal with it anymore. It's atrocious what they've done with the environment, not only with no regard to the residents. So I would like to make a motion to deny,
Second.
Mayor?
or to deny
agree-
totally, sorry.
Okay, go ahead. Agreeing with Jan, I mean, the negative report, review, I should say, from both the zoning and the planning, a complete disregard from the direction that city staff has told them what they should be doing, and they've been working without permits. I agree with Jan that it should be denied completely.
Been motioned and seconded to deny Council Memo 273-22, ordinance associated with the southeast corner of Alessio Drive at Manhattan Road. Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Yes, I think that we should be able to take the Alessios to court. We have taken people to court for far less than what they're doing out there. So, I would love to see us move forward and hold them accountable for the changes that they have made in the trajectory of their property. So I agree. I vote aye to deny the table.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Quick comment, Jim, and I understand you're working with the legislative committee at some point to create for the future an ordinance that would maybe be more nimble and not require us to have to go to court as a first step. And I understand that, but we also know that the legislative process can carry on for quite some time. We've had some ordinances that have gone on and been retooled over a year or year and a half's time. Are we moving forward under our current tools, which means taking them to court? That's important. I mean, we have to utilize what we currently have.
Well,
Yes, the legal department is currently working on our legal remedies.
Under our current ordinance.
Correct.
we are.
Thank you.
We are using all the things that are at our disposal right now to be able to rectify
And at the
this.
same time, trying to
And
develop
at the
a better.
same time, trying to get it so we can be a little bit more, as you aptly put it, nimble, a little bit more, get something that right away with some teeth in it. So, we're gonna look at what other folks do and try to, other municipalities and take a look at what they're doing, and so we can do something similar.
Okay, thank you. Aye.
Councilman Morris.
No.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Absolutely aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Motion carried 7-1. Council Memo 273-22 Council Memo 274-22, an ordinance approving a special use permit to allow a food and fuel fueling center located at the northwest corner of US Route 6 and Hollywood Road. It's recommended that ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
No.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Motion carried 7-1. Council Memo 275-22, an ordinance approving a special use permit for a gas and fuel fueling center located at the northeast corner of Caton Farm Road and Ridge Road. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
Mayor? Yes. I would at this point like to take a moment. I want to thank Mr. and Mrs. Mosher for coming forward and being involved. It is certainly important, and I would like to see that more often. I did speak with Mr. Mosher today at length. Very, very intelligent, very respectful man. We had a great conversation. He understood that where my position was, that I was in support of this. I'm in support of this from an economic development. This is a parcel of land that was annexed and zoned for commercial in 2006. And so it's not like a Johnny-come-lately to the game. It was known for, what is that, 15 years? 16, thank you, Mayor. 16 years. And we have had several other in the city of Joliet, one on Route 6 and Gallagher Road, and the other one, of course, on Theodore and Droughton. And while I'm sure not everyone who opposed it initially still doesn't regret it, a number of the people I talked to specifically on the Droughton Theodore one, a number of those people said they actually have turned out to like it. So I'm hoping this can work the same if it does pass for the folks that live immediately adjacent to this development, along with the Aldis and the Walgreens that's there. But that's just my comments. And thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Mosher. I do appreciate it.
Is there a motion to approve Council Memo 275-22?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Guerrero?
I would just say that I would hope to see any proposals for fueling centers in the future going forward. Would also include charging stations as we kind of move in that direction of electric vehicles. I also feel that until we have sort of a more comprehensive grasp on our current situation with indoor gaming and liquor licenses, that has been quite a headache for the council with gas stations so far. I wouldn't feel comfortable approving anymore, so I'll have to vote no.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Mr. Caparelli, could you read into the record the new thing that came in today for as far as the buffering?
Yes, the owners of the gas wash, Lenny McHenry, has been kind enough. He's going to increase the size of the berm and the fence to, I forget what the size was.
Yeah, it's 8 foot in the south and with an 8-foot fence.
It's 8-foot high berm with an 8-foot fence.
So it's 8, so they raise
It'll
it
be
to
a total of
16.
16, correct.
And then how big is the cement fence around there?
Yeah, with the car wash.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the height of I think it's 8 feet. 12 feet. 12 feet.
12 feet.
12 feet.
Can you put that on the record, please?
Sure, and I will say on the record that it's 12 feet.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I want to say no, but I did ask for that extra berming for you because I figured it was going to go. So whether I say yes or no, I don't think at this point it's going to matter. I'm going to support the district councilman and vote no for that.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Reardon?
No.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Yes, I'm going to vote aye on this. We too have a new gas and fuel, and we had those same concerns, some of the residents, that the other residents brought forward, and we found out that it was not to be true. It is a great facility, has been a great impact in my district, and so I'm going to vote aye.
And I would like to thank the owners for increasing those things for us, even though I voted no for it, but I thank you for doing that. But I wanted to support the district council person, okay, and the neighbors.
Motion carried 5-3. Council Memo 276-22, an ordinance approving a variation of use to allow a 78 square foot off-premise outdoor advertising sign. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So move.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hogg,
Aye.
Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 277-22, an ordinance approving a special use permit to allow a tire installation and sales facility located at 2404 Reeves Road. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hugg.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 278-22, ordinances associated with the annexation of a 40-acre parcel located at 16911 West Laraway Road. This includes an ordinance approving the annexation of a 40-acre lot located at 16911 West Laraway Road and an ordinance approving the classification of 16911 West Laraway Road to B3 General Business Zoning. It's recommended said ordinances be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hugg.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 279-22, ordinances and a resolution associated with the annexation of a 97.1 acre parcel located at the southeast corner of Cherry Hill Road and Spencer Road. This includes an ordinance approving the annexation of a 97.1 acre parcel located at the southeast corner of Cherry Hill Road and Spencer Road, an ordinance approving the classification of the southeast corner of Cherry Hill Road and Spencer Road to I-1 light industrial zoning, and a resolution approving dedication of a portion of Cherry Hill Road and Spencer Road as public right-of-way. It's recommended said ordinances and resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hugg.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is Council Memo 280-22, ordinances associated with Centerpoint Intermodal Center at Joliet subdivision. This includes an ordinance approving the annexation of 10 acres west of Brandon Road, an ordinance approving the classification of 10 acres west of Brandon Road to ITC, Intermodal Terminal Industrial Park zoning, an ordinance approving the reclassification of 5.225 acres northwest of Brandon Road from ITA, Intermodal Terminal to ITB, Intermodal Terminal Transportation Equipment zoning, and reclassification of 7.615 acres from ITC, Intermodal Terminal Industrial Park to ITB, Intermodal Terminal Transportation Equipment zoning, an ordinance approving the reclassification of 15.936 acres located west of Brandon Road from ITA, Intermodal Terminal to ITB, Intermodal Terminal Transportation Equipment zoning, and reclassification of 26.684 acres from ITC, Intermodal Terminal Industrial Park to ITB, Intermodal Terminal Transportation Equipment zoning, an ordinance approving the reclassification of 8.187 acres west of Brandon Road from ITA, Intermodal Terminal to ITC, Intermodal Terminal Industrial Park zoning, an ordinance approving the vacation of a portion of Schweitzer Road west of the Union Pacific Railroad, an ordinance approving the vacation of abandoned Brandon Road north of Schweitzer Road, an ordinance approving the revised preliminary plat of Centerpoint Intermodal Center at Joliet, Brandon Amendment Subdivision, an ordinance approving the final plat of Centerpoint Intermodal Center at Joliet Subdivision Phase 25, and an ordinance approving the recording plat of Centerpoint Intermodal Center at Joliet Subdivision Phase 25. It's recommended said ordinances be adopted. Is there a motion?
So moved.
a second? No second, so the motion dies. Does someone make a motion to deny?
You need a motion to deny?
Motion to deny.
Second.
It's been motion and seconded to deny Council Memo 280-22 ordinances associated with Center Point Intermodal Center at Joliet subdivision. Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
No.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Motion carried 7-1. Council Memo 280-22 was denied. Council Memo 281-22, ordinances associated with the Third Coast Intermodal Hub 1 subdivision. This includes an ordinance approving the petition for a special use permit to allow development of 532.14 acres of property within the Cedar Creek Watershed Protection Area, an ordinance approving the vacation of 3.788 acres of existing Bridge Road right-of-way, an ordinance approving the preliminary plat of Third Coast Intermodal Hub 1 subdivision, an ordinance approving the final plat of Third Coast Intermodal Hub 1 subdivision, Unit 1, and an ordinance approving the recording plat of Third Coast Intermodal Hub 1 subdivision, Unit 1. It's recommended said ordinances be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
No.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Motion carried 7-1. Council Memo 282-22, an ordinance approving an amendment to the 2022 budget and authorizing the purchase of radio batteries and replacement parts. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
Move to approve.
Second.
Been motion and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Motion carried. Moving on under resolutions, Council Memo 283-22, a resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Joliet and the County of Will for the annexation of 16911 West Laraway Road. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 284-22, resolution appropriating motor fuel tax funds for the 2022 pavement marking contract. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 258-22, a resolution appropriating motor fuel tax funds for the Curtis Avenue roadway improvement project.
Krista's 285.
Oh, 285, thank you.
Krista, there you go.
A little dyslexia there.
Council Memo 285-22, a resolution appropriating motor fuel tax funds for the Curtis Avenue roadway improvement project in the amount of $233,879.18. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is the city manager report.
I just wanted to say that I started sending back out the updates, so everybody should have gotten a copy of that the other day. So I hope that's something that you're looking for. If you're some information you'd like to see added to that, or please give me a call, let me know, and we'll put that in for you if you're looking for some particular information from any part of the staff. So thank you for that. With that concludes my comments for this evening.
New business not for final action or recommendation.
Joe? Ready?
Yes, Yana, I have a couple of things here. Wanna, bring the attention to, Broadway and Ruby Street. The city some years ago gave them some, large planters, in front of the church, but we never gave them the assistance to plant in that. And so they are looking now, since it is a gateway to the city, if the city would assist them in filling those pots with plants to beautify that area. They have done a lot for that corner there at St. Mary's. And so I think we'll all be getting some communication from the priest there. So I want to put that on the table. The other thing I'd like to put on the table is the street lighting on Woodruff Road. Anybody that travels that road knows that it is very dark, very wooded. And I don't know if we're having problems with the lights, but the wind can blow and the whole street goes out and it stays dark for a while. So kind of want to pay some attention. I don't know if that's a transformer issue or what that is, but I'd like to have that looked into. And that's all I have, sir.
Thank you. Caesar?
Yeah, just very quickly, it's been brought to my attention, got a few messages about it. It's the stretch of Zurich Road, east of Brandon Road. Said that there's quite a few number of very large potholes there. We know that's a lot of people travel that way during work hours, during the morning and afternoon rush hour. So if we could just bring that to attention there. I have a few pictures that were sent in to me that show, they are pretty significant. So that's it.
I just want to make a comment since there's going to be, and I'm expected there'd be quite a few comments on how the weather took care of our roads over the winter. Just reminding people that we're doing $10.5 million instead of $2.5 million this year. And Greg, the contracts are moving forward, right?
Yes, they are. We're going to be going out to bid with our first contract here shortly, and then with the potential for 2 or 3 others, depending on how we break it up shortly after. So those will be coming forward here very shortly.
And I'll make a note, sometimes people don't understand it, I've got some complaints about the Mall Loop Drive. We don't own the Mall Loop Drive. The Mall Loop Drive is not even owned completely by the mall. They own a predominance of it, but then some of the former Anchor stores own part of that road. Am I correct in describing this?
So I think you're referring to Ring Road?
Ring Road, I'm sorry,
yeah.
not Mall Loop.
So the city does have a good portion of Mall Loop, but the Ring Road, which is a central road, is owned by both the mall and the old Anchors. Sears or whoever took over that parcel now owns the Ring Road next to that, and I think there was some serious pothole complaints on that they've been addressing. But
we did address that one because it was a killer pothole. It was literally almost 1.5 feet, 2 feet deep.
Yeah.
And it's not our property, but as Greg said, with the danger involved, we'll throw some hot patch in it. Because our residents do use it. And I believe you're reaching out to the mall management.
That's correct, yeah.
To see if they can take care of the rest of their own road.
That's correct.
Okay, that's all. Terry?
I have nothing, Your Honor.
Pat? Jan?
Yes, along the same lines of those ATVs getting the gas, we cannot do this, but I would like the residents and city council perhaps, or the mayor or the city manager, get to our state legislature so that we can license these things. We don't have the authority to do that, but the state does. And by licensing them, then they could stop them and get their license, either the license plate, or stop them and see if they have a license. Because somehow we have to enforce this further. I haven't spoke to the chief about that yet, but what do you think, chief? Another option to look into.
Not all that much, simply because they're violators, so.
Period, so it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, they're fully understanding what they're doing, they're fully understanding they're unlicensed, they're uncredentialed, and they're just driving around like maniacs on the street.
But that wouldn't give us more meat and be able to arrest them when they do find them or catch them?
Sure.
So it's worth a shot?
It's worth a shot. At this point, anything is worth a shot. Like I explained earlier in previous sessions, there's a number of different things that we're going to try to do. It doesn't end in an ordinance or anything like that. We're going to do everything we can to curb this situation.
Well, it's just a thought, 'cause I thought it would give police a little more teeth to get a handle on this, besides the gas thing. So.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's all I have.
Sure.
Yeah, I just have a question for Jim Caprelli. We had a meeting, I think it was April 1st, it was a Friday. We were talking about different things in your office. And at that time, I asked you about the possibility of us having to redistrict, and you said that no, that none of our districts grew by more than 10%.
Right.
And now I'm hearing
That
it's
did
happening.
happen. Actually, initially I was told that, when we did this, everybody was like about 5% was the highest. But your district actually grew by 16%. So, we are gonna be forced to do some redistricting. So I'm gonna come up with some plans for the council to discuss. You know, the intent is to keep everybody in place, in your districts. So we're gonna try to work with the computer programs to try to do that. You know, some districts lost quite a bit. You know, Mr. Hugg's district, Councilman Hugg's district did not. His is like is the only one that doesn't really require any change. But some districts lost, you know, 4 or 5%, but yours had the big growth out west with all the housing, so that skewed you out. So if you'd like to stop by, I have a copy of it.
Yeah, where do we get those numbers from, and can I get a copy of how that was determined?
Absolutely, I'll get all that for you. But I have some printouts downstairs. If you'd like to stop by, and I'll give you a copy. If you'd
Okay, all right,
So, no
thank you.
Yeah, very quickly, I just wanted, Councilman Hunt touched on this earlier, but I want to thank Mr. Caprelli and the staff for putting the newsletter back together. That was very well received when we did it. I know why we cut it out there in COVID. We didn't know what we were looking at, but I'm glad it's coming back. I know our residents are also, so thank you.
Next is public comments. Is there anyone that would like to speak under public comments this evening?
My name is Betsy Satcher. I'm here to represent Eastside Neighborhood Council, and I'm here to make an announcement, a positive announcement. We are sponsoring Community Neighborhood Cleanup. It's going to be June 11th. More information will be coming forth, but we just want you to know, and we want all our residents to know, that we will be having this cleanup. And I'm very proud to announce that we have a young person that's spearheading this, not giving the name now, but we have a senior that's going to spearhead this cleanup effort. And I do want to bring her down to introduce her to the city council. So thank you. Please keep it in mind. Put it on your calendars. June 11th. We're going to be out cleaning and beautifying our neighborhood. And I would just like to say thank you so much for denying tabling Ordinance 27322. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you too for moving forward with legal actions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mayor, if you can get that information to us, we could probably put that on the website so we can get that out to the rest of the city if anybody wants to join in that cleanup, so.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. Kind of like, my name is Tanya Arias here on behalf of Council Neighborhood Council. So it must be a council communication. But this Saturday, the Council Neighborhood is hosting their cleanup day. It's going to be a 9 a.m. meetup at the Harmon Pavilion. That's at 511 Collins Street. We're going to be, we have several areas in our neighborhood that we're targeting. So depending on the number of turnouts, we hope to hit all those areas. And then switching hats a little bit, as president of the board of directors for the Spanish Community Center, do invite everyone out to our annual golf outing fundraiser. That's going to be next Thursday, May 26th at the Inwood Golf Center. Spanish Center has been around the community for over 50 years. It's been providing a lot of services, not only to the Latino community, but to all of Will County and Kankakee County. So it's been providing a lot of great services, especially during COVID. So it's a great way to support a nonprofit organization. And I thank you, everyone, and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Okay, also, if you can get that information, we'll put it on the website for you, for the cleanup.
Anyone else? Next is mayor and council comments.
Joe?
Yeah, Mayor, thanks. Again, Greg Roddy, thank you for, I think we fixed the lights on Woodruff, but they may be out again. So, Councilwoman, thanks for bringing that to our attention. Secondly, Lynn Street, right off of Mills, thank you for taking care of that street. I know we have a long way to go, but we're working on it. I appreciate that. And Erica Kessler, the neighbor there, who's filling us in on everything that's going on that street. Thirdly here, this Thursday, the 19th, Wilt County Law Enforcement Memorial will be taking place. They'll have a memorial mass at St. Mary's on Briggs Street at 10 a.m. And then they will then drive to the old Will County Courthouse at 11 a.m. for a ceremony and memorial service, remembering all the men and women of Will County who passed away in the line of duty. So I invite my colleagues and the general public to show support for all our men and women in blue. So, thank you.
Thank you. Betty?
Yes, on May 23rd, which is Monday, 6 p.m., one of the last meetings of the Bonner Group discussing the R3 money. That's the marijuana tax money that the county has to be allocated. That neighborhood meeting will be at 6 p.m. on Monday, May 23rd at 1019 Woodruff Road. If you have not attended and given your input to any of these meetings, this is one of the chances you can come out and make sure your voice is heard in terms of the allocation of the marijuana tax dollars through Will County. So please come out. The meeting will last for an hour. And as I said, if you have not had an opportunity to get your voice heard, please come out to the meeting on Monday, the 23rd of May. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Caesar?
Sure. Just very quickly want to take a moment to acknowledge Joliet Police Department sent a press release earlier today with regards to the incident that occurred in the area of Meadowview Elementary School. Very unfortunate that this had to happen. According to the release, thankfully it's a non-life-threatening injury that occurred, but still nonetheless very, very unfortunate that this had to happen, and much less in such close proximity to a school. So just again re-emphasizing the need of for us as a community to have to address violence, and thank you to our police department for responding to the situation.
Thank you, Larry. Just congratulations to everybody who graduated this past weekend.
Wasn't that your daughter?
That was 2 weeks ago.
Oh, 2 weeks ago.
Councilwoman, I was up in Northern for all day Saturday, and I saw they were graduating. My son didn't graduate yet from there. So I'll be saying this every meeting probably into June, so middle of June.
Yeah, just to touch on the Cherry and Jim was talking about the redistricting. And I don't know legally if it have to go to referendum, but I think it's time. I mean, personally, that the city thinks about adding a district maybe and a large person. I mean, I don't know other like population cities like Aurora has more council people than we do. You know, I think we could do our job more efficient. Not that we don't do our job well, but with the smaller district population, I think it would.
Right, that's certainly an option, but I believe when our preliminary research into that, because we did look at trying to do something along those lines and present it to you, because it has to go for a referendum to the voters, and then it has to be approved by the council at a later date. So it's something that, do we add, you're gonna have to add two, so you still have an odd number, so that's the minimum. So do you add two districts? You don't wanna do two at large because you're not solving the problem of districting for, population representation. So, something we looked at, but it'll be something that have to be put to the voters, and we won't be able to do that before we have to redistrict it at this particular time. So, I guess I don't know if it's possible to do a special election or anything like that, or a special referendum, but.
Okay, I mean, it's a suggestion.
No, yeah, exactly. We were looking at that option. I was hoping that we'd be able to just do that just based on the council voting to be able to do that and to put some additional members on, but it has to go to the voters. So, at some point.
That's all I have.
Jim?
Yeah, along the same lines, this is Police Week, so please thank a police officer for their service. They put their life on the line every day for us. And also, if you see a retiree, give them a kudos for their service as well. And I'd like to tell them all to just be well and be safe.
Sherry?
Nothing.
A couple things. On May 7th, Unidos Marketing had their grand opening. It was on a Saturday. They had a ribbon cutting. I got there early. I'm not sure who from the council attended, but I do want to congratulate them. They've done a great job with the old Steelworkers Hall on Ottawa Street, another great addition to downtown. So thank you to them. May 4th, there were a number of items that happened in Joliet on that day. Late in the afternoon, there was another ribbon cutting at the Kenyon Group at 48 North Chicago. The Chamber of Commerce was there as well. I know Councilman Clement was there. Congratulations to them. Again, another addition to downtown Joliet. Earlier in the day at 304 William, Congressman Foster was in town. Councilwoman Quillen was there, along with myself and Councilman Clement. He brought back $3.5 million of federal money to go towards the water project. Specifically, that's to the sewer mains that are being replaced all throughout Joliet. So thank you, Congressman Foster, for his work on that. And then a little bit later in the afternoon, Governor Pritzker was in town along with Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg. A number of elected officials. I know Councilwoman Clement, Councilman Clement, Councilwoman Quillen, and Councilman Mudrin. You all were in attendance at the ribbon cutting for the Joliet Transportation Center. This was the Pace Bus facility. It was the final leg in that plan that began years ago when Mayor Schultz was the mayor and Governor Quinn was the governor with state money being given. Councilwoman Quillen, you may have been on from the very beginning for this.
Yep.
So it's a long time coming, but I want to thank Pace for their partnership with the bus terminal, the new bus terminal. I'm excited to say, a small piece of that, the viaduct that lines the wall, I guess it would be from New Street South. Pace wants to work with our new Arts Commission to have local artists to do murals on the wall, talk about the history of transportation in Joliet. So an exciting project and an exciting culmination to a project that began many years ago. It's always good to see those level of elected officials in our city. We did participate in a roundtable with them, and we did raise, again, the concerns we have about the infrastructure in Joliet, and whatever help we can get from Springfield or from Washington, how much it would be appreciated here. So thank you to everyone on the council to help participate with that, and that is all I have for tonight.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
This meeting adjourned.